we can't see it here. So we're already live.
Okay, great.
And now I'm just waiting till we see it. Hello, everybody. Surprise episode of Funniest Thing. All right. Hang on one second. Yeah. All right. So now that we know that's up, all right, Glenn, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Steve, are you ready?
Now I am.
Okay. Well, wait, because that's going to be on the very opening. Welcome to The Funniest Thing, where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes. I'm Daryl. Ed's on vacation, but today I'm here with Steve and Tom Thorpe and Glenn Brewster. And today's topic is a vow of happiness. And this was actually recommended by one of our guests today, Glenn. So just so you know what we're going to be talking about, a vow of happiness with Glenn Brewster and Stephen Tom Thorpe. He's not happy because he's rich. He's rich because he's happy. Consciousness is money, and money is just consciousness. Prosperity is the result of a faithful consciousness. And consciousness, like attitude, is your mental approach, that's your thoughts and feelings to life. And remember, feelings aren't facts, they're indicators. They're indicators of our consciousness, our present thoughts, and the direction we are headed. Trusting in good equals happiness, and happiness indicates you are in alignment with your greater good. You're walking with God. Guests Glenn Brewster and Stephen Tom Thorpe join us to share ways they delete the negatives and accentuate a happy, generous attitude. So welcome to the show, Glenn and Stephen. Hello, everybody, and all our regular listeners. Thank you very much for joining us. I know the shows have been a little sporadic lately, but Ed's still taking a long vacation, and I'm doing them as often as I can. And the great news is this show was inspired because out of the blue, and we're going to be talking about this, having an open and generous consciousness, which means your thoughts are grounded in a faithful attitude that all things are always working together for good. You don't have to force and shove and make things happen, and that allows us to act spontaneously, which we can't do with a fearful attitude because we're always too concerned about how it might turn out or what people might think. So yesterday I was driving and I got a text from first I got a phone message. But on the phone messages, what's nice is now you could read them. So it pops up as a readable text. So I wasn't
voice message.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if it was a text or a voice message. And Glenn, who's with us today, said he heard someone discuss how they took a vow of happiness. And he said, I thought you'd enjoy that, or I was thinking of you when I heard it. And it was perfect because he was correct. It was just what I needed to hear. It's what I try to be all about, and we'll get more into that. But right away, after that, I was talking with Stephen. This shows you how things all come around when you're just not trying to make things happen. So I get that message, a vow of happiness. I go, man, that is awesome. Glenn was right. I'm glad he sent that. And then I was talking with Stephen, And I was grumbling that I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I just feel kind of flat. I was grumbling about my lot in life, which is insane. But we're going to talk about how when we're not thinking faithfully, we start to think unfaithfully, and we forget that everything is working out just fine, but we're not tuned into it. So I wasn't really tuned into it. And right after that call, after Glenn's message, like I said, I was talking with Steve, and he goes, "Well, would doing a show, another episode of the show, make you feel bad? Because remember when you had that going on every week to look forward to, and you're preparing for it, it keeps your mind in those higher ideas throughout the week." And I said, "Yeah, I could do a show tomorrow," because it just happened to be Saturday. And I said, I could do it on a vow of happiness because Glenn just sent me that. And then I thought, well, shoot, this is perfect. I'll just immediately said, well, Steve, you could join me, and Glenn, because Glenn is the one who shared this idea with me. And just getting that idea got not only got my mind back on track and my feeling nature at a much higher level about all things in my life, but it also led to today's episode. So, how do you feel about that, Glenn?
I was it was funny. I heard that person talking about it, and I just kind of was like, oh, I bet you Daryl will love that idea or like that saying. And so I'm really glad it turned into this, and I'm honored to be here, and I'm really happy that we get to discuss that.
Have either of you guys seriously considered taking a vow of happiness now that you understand these principles, these spiritual ideas that we talk about on Funniest Thing?
Well, I think I already did a couple of times. Um, I think the first time was with Nancy Norman. She was holding a weekly Zoom class, and I forgot where she got it from, if it was like Catherine Ponder. Do you remember that one?
I don't know.
I think it was a declaration. So we did that together as a class on Zoom, where you write it out and make a commitment and sign it. And then also,
But what's the declaration? Explain it to people.
well, it's like I forget. I forget what it was. But the one that I do remember is with you and the Declaration of Independence, your own personal Declaration of Independence. It's in the back of your book.
Oh,
Oh, what a great little segue. You could talk about your books.
that's in The Hidden Meaning of the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
Step Out Boldly, which is a great Christmas gift. It's very inexpensive and it has all the tools we talk about. Makes a great gift. It's available on Amazon, but that's not why you said that.
Because in the back of the book is your own personal Declaration of Independence, and you get to sign it at the bottom. And so this basically is kind of like it coincides with a vow of happiness. Today I declare my personal independence from the tyranny of the inner critic, the scaredy cat who is obsessed about what others may think about me if I follow my intuition, my heart's desires. I break out of my box with faith, the joyful expectancy that my intuition will guide me in wonderful ways. From now on, I declare my freedom to recognize, trust, and act on my intuitive hunches. I step out boldly, signed and dated. And then there at the bottom, there's like a disclosure statement. Signing this will make me subject to improved health, happiness, love, success, and prosperity, as well as an overall feeling of generosity and love toward others.
Well, I was thinking of a vow of happiness. My vow of happiness happened as a moment where it clicked in my brain when I realized that, like the beginning of our description, he's not happy because he's rich. He's rich because he's happy. And that's a spiritual axiom because I've shared this many, many times, but it's worth sharing again. I was young. I was 23. I was lost in space as far as thinking, how am I ever going to earn a living for the rest of my life and figure this stuff out, you know, make a life for myself and be successful. And Mike Dugan and I went to hear someone talk, and he got up, and Mike leaned over and said, this guy is the happiest guy you'll ever meet, Jack.
Who's Mike Dugan again for people, first-time listeners?
Oh, a mentor of mine from years ago when I was 23 and I was in the military in Hawaii, 1986. So Mike leans over and goes, Jack, who was the guy who was about to give a presentation, he said, Jack is the happiest guy you'll ever meet. And I looked at Jack and I was very cynical then. The idea of believing in happiness as a way of life, as a compass, would seem silly, even stupid, ignorant. That's what I would think it meant. And it's ridiculous. You got to work hard. You got to grab what you want. You got to plan.
And then that's where the happiness supposedly comes from.
Once you get
it.
Once you get the things you think will make you happy. It's not even guaranteed. You're just thinking, once I get this job, once I get this girlfriend, once I get this house, once I move to this new place, once I quit this job, once I get rid of this girlfriend, once I move to that place, once I leave that place, on and on and on. And happiness always seems elusive then. So but you don't think that way when you're actually thinking that way, because you have no idea, or I had no idea, that these spiritual laws really do indeed exist. But when I hear them, when I heard them, and when I still hear them, they feel right on. They don't feel foreign. And Mike Dugan said, Jack's the happiest guy you'll ever meet. And me being cynical, I just sized him up. And I just said, yeah, of course he's happy, Mike. He's rich. And Mike just looked at me and said, he's not happy because he's rich. He's rich because he's happy. And some people might hear that and go, oh, yeah, because when you're happy, it doesn't matter that you're poor. That's not what Mike said.
Yeah.
He meant literally, he's rich in every way.
The prosperity, the money.
Every single way, in feeling, in health, in finances, in experiences,
peace of mind.
In his circumstances. Everything reflects our mental state, our attitude, our consciousness. And for some reason, that clicked in my brain, and I don't know why it made total sense that I'm going to make this my vow, happiness. So that means just being aware of everything that's unlike happiness, which is really everything that's unlike love, and trying my best to eradicate those thoughts that create those negative ways of feeling, and pivoting to a faithful way of thinking. And I wrote this down for listeners. It's three simple steps to be happy, to generate a happy attitude. Okay? And I even called it, let's get serious about happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness is enduring, desired, and beneficial. When people are happy, they have no desire to stick it to others. An ancient philosopher from the 3rd century, I forgot his name, he was Chinese. He even said, if everyone was living with this loving, happy attitude, there would be no more wars. The rich would not oppress the poor. The poor would not hate the rich. Leaders would not look to control by force. I mean, it just went on and on and on. So it really is an individual job we all have to do. It's our own personal responsibility. And so this is the 3 ways how to generate a happy attitude. Write these down, folks, if you have a pen, or just play this later if you're listening to it and scroll to this portion. Step 1, trust in God as good. If you have trouble with the word God, all these great metaphysical teachers say just substitute it with the word good. So trust in God as good, meaning when you're praying to God or you're thinking of God, trust that this force is a good force. It's always for your best, okay? So step 1, trust in God as good. 2, remind yourself that your thoughts of good are in agreement with God and have mountain moving power. So whenever you're thinking about your desire and it brings you joy of achieving it, know that those thoughts are in agreement with this universal power, all the power of the universe. You're in alignment with it, and it has mountain moving power. It's an attractive magnetic power, so you don't have to make anything happen. Just delight in those thoughts and know that things are going to come out of left field in unusual and unexpected ways through unexpected people at unexpected times. So that's number 2. Remind yourself that your thoughts of good are in agreement with God and have mountain moving power. And number 3, look forward to all things working together for good in unexpected and miraculous ways without your meddling. If you feel like scheming or meddling or forcing things to happen, go back to step 1. Trust in God is good. And remind yourself that just believing and enjoying the idea of believing that your good is actually being scheduled right now by this loving universal force. And people might go, well, how do you know? Why would God do this for me if I want to do this? That's silly. Well, if you have the desire to do something and it feels really good, the word desire means of the Father. That means it's already for you. It's in the cards for you. And the only thing getting in my way and in your way is fear, doubt, worry, impatience, intolerance, and feeling like I have to make it happen. Don't worry about how it's going to come about. Just enjoy the idea of it coming about. Yeah, but don't I need to do any footwork when I just sit on my couch? Well, no. But the footwork you end up doing will be fun work, like it is for me from my experience. You'll be inspired to do a certain thing, or someone will invite you to participate in a certain thing. And then that's the next delightful action. You will be guided. So you could even do that while you're imagining things working together for good. Know that you are and will always be guided in these delightful ways. So can either of you two guys share any of your experiences? I know you both have had experiences with these things happening like this. Do you have any specific ones, either one of you, that you could share with our audience?
I'll let Glenn go first.
Thank you. Well, I just want to say, first of all, as far as about happiness goes, I learned from you, Daryl. I have to renew these vows every morning, because, my thinking is, I don't know what happens at night, but when I wake up, um, uh, things seem a bit negative usually. And I've been, I don't know if this is answering your question specifically, but a few weeks ago, Jeff Spikes was on. You were talking about the magic of thinking big, and I was like, I got to get that book. And I was thinking about how am I going to get that book? Should I order it? What should I? And I look on the bookshelf, and it's on the bookshelf. It's right there. I'm like, I already got it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I know, right? Um, and my, and my thing is, that I suffer from is either I think I'm too old, or I'm not smart enough. And on page 20 in this book, he goes, for stickability is 95% of ability. And I love that. And then he addressed my whole
Could you
age.
repeat that one more
Yeah,
time, Glenn?
slowly.
Yeah,
Pa-
slowly. Because I'm
Page 24, stickability is 95% of ability.
Stickability?
is 95% of our ability is just stick to itiveness.
Yeah. 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 And I always, I just want to give up as soon as things gets hard, as soon as things get hard, and I was just like, no, just keep going. I was like, I'm working on this documentary, and I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I like, Glenn, stop, stop, just do the next thing, just do this, stick with it for today, and that's why I do it. And then he talks about excusatitis. Um, it's no use. I'm too old or too young. Age excusatitis, the failure disease of never being the right age, comes in two easily identifiable forms. I'm too old, variety, and I'm too young, brand. And I hear people suffer from that all the time. I know a lot of older folks who are just like, oh God, I'm getting really old. I don't know what to do. I'm like, no, we don't want to hear that. You know, I collect stories about people who are in their 90s and 100s doing amazing things, and I look at these sometimes just to be reminded that, I'm 58. I still, these guys are like 105, some of these folks. I still got a lot of time and I still got the ability to do these things. And it gives me hope that when I see this, that other people are doing it at that age, like people running marathons, people, bodybuilders, 80. If you ever want links to these stories, I'd be happy to share them with you. But it's just amazing to see that. And again, I don't know if that answers the question that you posed, but that's what came to mind. That's all.
Oh, that
Thanks.
is awesome. I need to be reminded of that all the time. How about you, Steve?
Well, now I understand what you mean by have you ever thought about taking a vow of happiness from your story? But yeah, just like what Glenn said, I got to do it every morning. And like what you shared with your story with Mike Dugan and how he shared with you this eternal principle. Once woke up to it as well myself, it's like I gotta be happy. Like that's gotta be my one true like mission is how to be happy. And how could I go about being happy? And just like in the description, it talks about you know, happiness indicate happiness indicates you're in alignment with your greater good. You're walking with God. And so, got to take the actions to like following intuition. And I think your declaration, personal declaration of independence, really touches on that. The ability to follow intuitive guidance, to be freed up so that in my everyday life, I could be kind and loving to others. I could be giving. I could focus on giving and not just how can I get? How I have like, these financial worries. How can I get more money? How can I get this job? I need to get a better job or, like relationship wise or I'm single. How am I going to get a girlfriend or a wife? I need a wife. I'm 35 and I'm a loser because I don't have a wife and a kid. Like that kind of stuff that I tell myself. But if I have trust and this faith in good, although my current circumstances may not appear to be exactly what I want or what I deem to be in order for me to be happy, but just trust that, like you said, my good is being scheduled right now. Everything, God is on the unseen plane. God is working on the unseen plane, arranging things on my behalf, arranging things on everybody else's behalf, my friends' behalf, my family's behalf, the people around me, their behalf. Um, and because of it, I have been getting, like you said, Daryl, pulled into and invited without me trying to do things, invited to do things. So as an actor, I live in Los Angeles and just following the joy. Like I'm doing this improv class because I love it. I feel like it really helps me with my acting ability, but also too just live performance of improv is like a creative high for me. developing a character on the spot and like doing an accent or something like that, or trying to, work with my scene partner to come up with the story on the spot with a suggestion from the audience. It's really fun for me. And this current improv troupe that I am performing with, we're also putting on a play. It's called the Three Penny Opera. And so I was asked to play a few small minor roles, and I was very excited about that. I was very grateful for it. I was like, ooh, another opportunity to act. Okay, I'm gonna memorize lines, I'm gonna develop these characters, I'm gonna have costume changes. So it's like I'm gonna be one character and I'm gonna run backstage, put on a different costume and come out as a different character. So I'm getting all these like creative ideas of how I can perform this, and I'm having so much fun. I took it so seriously. Like one of the first in-person dress rehearsals, like I brought like a whole garment bag full of all these different options.
I think the right word isn't seriously. I think I was so enthusiastic about it.
Thank you. Yes, I was so enthusiastic about it that, like well, it's just like getting serious about happiness.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because it's like you get so enthusiastic about some idea, you really like you really take joy in all the little details. You really want to like focus. You want to put all your focus and attention into it because of the joy you derive from it. And so then people could be like, wow, he takes this seriously. No, I just love focusing and putting all my energy into it.
Well, it really is enthusiasm, because enthusiasm means going with God.
Yes.
It means being possessed by delightful spirits. And that's really what it is. And what's crazy is that enthusiasm means we're in harmony with God. So then greater opportunities towards that advancement, towards the desire, open up to us through our enthusiasm. And I think that's what happened to you, isn't it?
Yes. Wow.
Because then what happened?
So out of nowhere, the director of the play basically said the lead actor who's playing the lead character, Mackie the Knife, this is where like Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin and Frank Sinatra, the song. This is the play where that character comes from, Mac the Knife, Mackie McHeath the Knife. So the lead actor got called into his TV show like a month earlier, and so he's not going to be able to play the lead. And so he approached me and said, would you be willing and able to play Mac the Knife and take his spot as the lead actor? So now I'm going to be like this is going to be my first lead in a play.
From enthusiasm over bit parts to being asked by Santa Claus to lead the reindeer. No, but I mean, that's really what happens. But if we're grumbling, if I'm grumbling, oh, I got these bit parts.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't know what he's doing. The lead actor's a bum.
Yeah,
I don't know why I didn't get it. We keep getting diminishing returns then.
Or like, I can't put this on my resume for acting. So when I apply, they're going to see bit parts.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about when we were talking, that how do you know? Like, well, how do you know which way to go? Well, or what direction to go. And the key is, don't worry about that. If you're lost and you're not sure, I mean, for a long time, what am I supposed to be doing with my life would always be the question. Or I often ask, what am I supposed to be doing now that I've completed this project? And I could fall into two different traps. One is, and this tends to be my personality, I think, because I felt like I had to prove myself to my father. It doesn't matter where I got it. I just know it's a defective trait that I have to let go of. I mean, I'm consciously, I'm not like, I have to let go of it, but I still live it. No, when it comes up, I have to actively say no and let go of it and get back on board with what really works. And that trap is, I got to do something. I'm not doing anything. Like I just had a new book come out the 1st of November. So that's just a month. That's like a little over a month ago. Oh yeah. It's called The Great Seal, The Symbolic Guide for Happy and Successful Living. This is great. If you know someone This, if you know someone who wants to read a simple, uplifting book and also be informed about a fascinating history of the symbols that are in the Great Seal of the United States, because it really is a symbolic, powerful symbolic image, and it has a front and a back. You're probably familiar of the front side. It's the eagle with the shield, and it's similar to the presidential seal. But you could find both the front and back of the Great Seal on the back of a dollar bill. And I posed the question to myself, what if the secret to happy, successful life has been hiding in plain sight, printed on the back of every single dollar bill? And I did all my research. And the more I discovered, the more it changed. I should just say it here. It's easier to just read what I wrote, because instead of trying to paraphrase and bumbling through it. If you read this book, and I could say this for myself from discovering these things, you'll never look at the Great Seal or your country or your own potential the same again. And it's an easy read. It's available on Amazon. But what I was bringing it up because this just got released November 2nd.
Yeah.
And then it had some problems through Amazon printing that I had to clean up. So it really isn't really released until a few weeks ago in its perfect, form, where I'm very happy with the way it looks. And yet I felt I got to start doing something else. Some more, like, I didn't even give myself a break. And I started diving into working on turning the journalism workshop, create your best life via journaling, into a book, because, I was driving myself. My shoulders were getting tense, thinking I was having fun. And there were points of fun and enthusiasm during the process. But Stephen, thank God, reminded me, look, man, you got to put this thing on the shelf. I mean, you don't need to power through this. You just finish this one book.
Enjoy the release of this guy.
Of the first book. Well, yeah, The Great Seal, the symbolic guide of happy and successful living. But so that's one trap we could fall in. And both these traps come forgetting that God exists and forgetting that I can rely on it. I could just say it like this. Ernest Holmes says it best, that there's a power of good in the universe and we can use it. And the other thought is, so that comes from, I'm not doing enough. We got to get rid of that. And the other side is, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do in my life? What am I doing in my life? If you get trapped in either one of those, the quick remedy that I use is gratitude and generosity, meaning forget about, for the moment, me trying to figure out what my life's all about and which direction I need to go and all the chores I need to do and whatever that garbage is, because it's just garbage. And just get back into grateful for my life and everything that's in it right now, and act generously. Generous thoughts towards people, generous thoughts and behaviors throughout my day, meaning being courteous, kind, and somehow, I don't know how, but somehow that extends the antenna of my intuition. And then things start happening. And that's just like the reason we're doing today's show. I was feeling that way. I got Glenn's. And then I was feeling that way. I got Glenn's message, A Vow of Happiness. And then I was talking to Stephen about how I had been feeling. And he says, well, we'd be doing a show again. And instead of going, yeah, but what am I going to do a show on? Because my antenna were up, I was generous and grateful for Glenn sharing that with me. It was so easy, without doubt, to just go, yeah, tomorrow's Saturday, we could do a show and it'll be on the vow of happiness. And that's That it's that simple, folks. I just want to read this because what we give out, we receive, and it's another good book. I don't really love the way it looks because it's really flowery in its illustrative layout, and it's kind of heavy pages, and I wish it was just on regular paper in a regular book, but I know they tried to guzzy it up for the audience. And the reason I'm saying it's from the author Rhonda Byrne, who is the producer of the movie The Secret, and also the book The Secret, which is really just a transcript of the movie, which is great. Regardless, you may feel great about The Secret. Some people, think it's silly. I say, and Ed and I have always said, or I always would remind listeners with Ed, you take what you can use and you leave the rest. I'm always investigating stuff. There's a lot of stuff I read, even from people who I personally have met. And personally, I'm not vibrating at the same frequency as them. But some of the stuff they share is useful. So here's what she says in here. It's written many different ways, but I like how simply it's put here. How you feel is an exact reflection, a precise measure to the finest degree of what you are giving out in any moment. When you're feeling joyful, you are giving joy, and you will receive back joyful experiences, joyful situations, and joyful people wherever you go. And I have a quote here from, where is it? Well, if I can't find it in 2 seconds, we'll move on. But I had a quote here from Martha Washington. And here it is. I am still determined to be cheerful and happy in whatever situation I may be. For I have also learned from experience that the greater part of our happiness or misery depends upon our dispositions and not upon our circumstances.
Wow.
You can change anything in your life by changing how you feel. And the easiest way to do that is switch from complaint to gratitude. It's not always easy, but you can do it. You can do it. And Hermes Trismegistus, who was an Egyptian philosopher before Jesus, said, if you want to change your life, change your feeling. If you want to change your world, change your feeling. And how do we change our feeling? By affirmation, because thoughts precede feelings. Feelings aren't facts, they're indicators of what I'm thinking. And a lot of time we're not even paying attention to what we're thinking. Especially with our devices. You ever hear leave them to their devices? Well, now when I'm left to my devices I'm looking at it too long,
That's funny.
It's changing my thinking pattern, which is changing my feeling pattern, which is changing my frequency. And the universe will always match. It's the universe's job, meaning our circumstances will always match our vibration. So don't be left to your devices too long, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying this for myself.
Yeah, I do it too on the phone. Well, I was going to say, everything you've been talking about right now, switching from complaint to gratitude, becomes easier, or has become easier, ever since I've committed to, and longtime listeners have been hearing this, and hopefully they've taken up the practice as a morning practice. As soon as you wake up, and ingesting these affirmations, and ingesting these positive readings, and really having that impact that stays in your mentality throughout the day. And I've been doing it every day for 7 years now. And every day I feel like I get a little bit better at switching from complaint to gratitude, from switching from, oh, wow, I'm being manipulative right now. I got to stop this because it's for the wrong reasons. It's not just for selfless giving. I want to get something, right? And I know that that's starting to feel bad now, because now it's like every morning I get in touch with my true self,
Yeah.
the God in me trying to guide me. It's always guiding me, and it's up to me to get in line with that, to be accepting of that, to be willing to go in that loving direction, to use that discipline. And I was going to say that one quote about always being joyful and spreading joy wherever we go, and have that having the impact on it, whatever that Martha
Washington, that's George Washington. That's the
Oh my
George
gosh.
Washington's wife. Yeah,
That's
the very
remarkable.
first
President.
presidential wife. But she wasn't. They weren't called first ladies until James Garrison. She was the first, the wife of James
Madison.
Garrison, I think his name, and that president is the first one who really made it a first lady.
And how many down the line was he?
He was after Ulysses S. Grant, so it was pretty far down.
Okay. Wow.
So, but Dolly Madison was the one who really saved the United States during the War of 1812 when they burned down the Capitol and the White House, and she saved the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and
Wow.
portraits. And yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story. I know I'm getting way out of line here, but that should just add a little more gravitas to Martha Washington's quote there, folks.
Wow.
I was going to say something really quick.
Yeah.
When before I got my knee replaced, I had a total knee replacement. When I was considering it, well, at this point I knew I was going to do it. I bumped into a lady. I could see she had a knee replacement, and I just talked to her about it. I go, "How's it going?" And she was really negative, and it was just so distasteful to like engage with her because she was just like, "This is like the biggest mistake I ever made. I can't believe I did. The doctors are." I was like, I'm going to have a complete like opposite attitude, and it really helped me a lot. I mean, you're listening to the show. It helped me too. It's a lot of work to be this happy, as you say, Daryl. And I really try to invest that into my knee replacement. And I remember going to the hospital. I remember being really friendly with the doctors and just trying to bring a good vibe, and they were really, really nice to me, and it was really wonderful. And I remember, I just was like, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. Sure, it hurts, but it's not that bad. Um, and they gave me a boatload of drugs, and I was like, if I need them, fine, I'll take them. But if I don't need them, I'm not going to take them. I ended up not needing the drugs. I took a
Wow.
lot of Advil and Tylenol. Um, and the funniest thing too, also was like when I would talk to people would be like, "Oh, how's it going? Is it?" I'm like, "This is great. This is like, I'm so happy I got my knee replaced." And you could see the look on their face, like they're confused, like, "Wait a minute. This is your time to complain."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm not going to complain." And it kind of like um, allowed them to be like, you know what? Someone can be positive about something that happened to them. And it can be a great thing. It doesn't have to be negative. And people, I think it really confuses them sometimes when they encounter someone like that. It's like, for years, I was always looking for something like this, like what Daryl and you and Ed would talk about. And when I remember the first time I heard Daryl talk, I was like, holy cow, I love this guy. I
Yeah.
I really been looking for something like this, and I'm so that was like in 2020, and since then, I mean, you've opened my eyes to a lot of new things that I've just never really considered, that have been out there, but just the way that you present it through the show and meeting you in person, um, has helped me tremendously. And this show means a lot to me. It really does. And I'm so glad there's so many years of back episodes because I've been going back. I just listened to one of Terry McBride's old episodes. Um, and Stephen Tom Thorpe's one of his first episodes on here, just by chance. I just picked it by chance. And to be able to go into the world and bring some light. And you told me yourself, Daryl, when I took your class, we are secret agents of God's love. I don't know if you remember telling me that, but and I write that every morning in my to-do list, be a secret agent of God's love. And that's my number one thing. And so thank you. And that's all.
No, that is awesome. I'm so glad you brought that up because I was just reading. in one of these books the other day. The book I was reading from, the Rhonda Byrne book, actually is not the book The Secret. It's from the book The Power. So if you're wondering where that's from, and you could find that anywhere.
Oh, good catch. They're the same shape and size, the
Yeah,
books.
The Power. So I loved what you said about the attitude towards recovering from a health situation, because all these teachers and even doctors and psychologists will agree that an optimistic patient is 95% further ahead on the road to recovery than the pessimistic patient. I mean, they've done studies where the attitude of the patient is a significant contributor to how the recovery goes. This isn't just like good things you hear in the Bible, like a joyful heart it will heal the mind, body, and soul, and a downtrodden one will dry up the bones. I mean, now it's conclusive.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, I just want to read. This is a great tool. Lori, my wife, has been using it on me the past few days. Unfortunately for me, no, it's fortunate because it actually does work. But now she goes, get off that horse. You're on a horse. And, you know, we hear people say, oh, you're on your high horse. Well, Rhonda Burns, and this is one of the things that I take from her as a great tool. And I'm going to read it because if any of you listeners are like myself, when we have a mental tool we could use, or if your wife hears of the mental tool, she'll remind you of it when you aren't applying the tool, which is also good. So you might want your significant other to hear this part of the show as well. So here it is. And if you have the book, The Power, it's on page 92. The chapter is Feeling is Creation. Life is supposed to be fun. When you're having fun, you feel great and you receive great things. When you take life too seriously, you receive serious things. Having fun brings the life you want, and taking things too seriously brings a life you have to take seriously. You have the power over your life, and you can use it to design your life in whatever way you want. But for your own sake, lighten up. To lighten up about bad feelings, and I'm quoting Rhonda Byrne here, to lighten up about bad feelings, I have imagined bad feelings as wild horses. There's an angry horse, a resentful horse, a blaming horse, a sulky horse, a cranky horse, a grumpy horse, an irritable horse. You name it, there's a stable full of bad feeling horses. If I feel some disappointment over something that has happened, then I say to myself, why did you climb on the disappointed horse? Get off it now.
Oh, disappointment horse.
Disappointment horse. Get off it now because it's heading for more disappointment and you don't want to go where it's going. And so I imagine bad feelings as wild horses I climb on. And if I've climbed on them, then I can get off them too. I don't see bad feelings as something that is the real me or anyone else, because that is not the truth. Bad feelings are not who you are. They are not who anyone is. A bad feeling is something you allowed yourself to feel, and you can choose to get off that horse as fast as you jumped onto it. If you think of bad feelings as a wild horse that you climbed on, it is one way to take the power out of bad feelings. If someone close to you is cranky, their bad feeling will have far less power to affect you if you imagine them as having climbed on a cranky horse. You will not take their crankiness so personally. But if you take it personally and you become cranky from their crankiness, then you just jumped on the cranky horse with them. Isn't that a great tool?
Yeah.
Because three things happened to me when I spent too much time on social media. These three things. and watch these for yourself. The first thing that happens is I start comparing myself. The second thing that follows me comparing myself to someone, I mentally start competing with them. I'm not taking it, but I'm mentally, my mind's going, well, that. And then the death knell, it's not a nail. It's actually a bell that would go off when someone died in the old town. I always thought it was a death nail.
Yeah.
No, it's a death knell.
How do you spell it?
Knell.
Thank you.
Okay, so the death knell, the final blow is condemnation. I start condemning myself. So I go from comparing, oh yeah, well, they're doing this. And then all of a sudden I start competing. Well, they're doing more than me. Why am I? And then I'm trapped in condemnation of myself. Then, because I'm on the condemning horse, my mind will try to get out of it by condemning. And I'm still on the horse, so I'll start condemning them. Well, they're not doing that great. It's all about, I got to just get off the horse. And getting off the horse is, why am I on social media so long? Why did I leave myself to my own devices?
And get hypnotized.
Yes, I also refer to my time on social media as voluntary hypnosis, where I'm volunteering to get hypnotized by someone else's ideas, because it's all someone else's ideas, someone else's presentation of themselves. And I'm not saying to sacrifice social media completely, because there's a lot of great things on social media. I learned how to format my book through social media. Sharing art, is a tool. You can use social media as a mini gallery.
Yeah.
If you're just sharing it to share it.
Yeah.
So I thought the horse analogy was fantastic to wrap up this show. You guys have anything else you want to share before I say thanks to everybody?
No. Well, I mean, I do, but it's long. It's going to take a little long story. But
You can't chop out a lot of the mommy stuff?
my mommy likes long details, and they're kind of necessary. Basically, I wanted to share that they're just being kind and loving to my tailor.
Oh yeah, you can make
sh-
that a short
And sharing my
magical story.
joy of horse riding and my acting with my tailor. I get shirts like tailored, so that they fit better.
Yeah, I think people know what a tailor is. You don't have to turn this into a mommy. They know what a tailor is.
For clothing.
Yeah, they know that.
Yeah, I want to make sure that they didn't think I had a girlfriend named Taylor. My tailor.
Oh, because you did have a girlfriend named Taylor. Good grief.
But I never referred to her as my Taylor. So
Just get to the point, will you? Come on, you're killing us, Larry.
he was always joyful to hear about it, and he was always interested in my acting and horse riding. He said, "You need to meet my friend Jaime. He has horses and loves horse riding too, and wears cowboy hats just like you." And so, out of the blue, when I dropped some shirts off, he pulled up Jaime on like FaceTime. I got to meet him, and we just hit it off. We stayed in contact. The first phone conversation we had, he just asked me nonchalantly, "Hey, so you working right now?" And I just told the truth. I was like, "Well, I've been laid off since April. I am looking for work. So, luckily I'm, being taken care of with unemployment, and I got a couple of side gigs that I'm keeping afloat." And he goes, "Oh, you need to meet my brother-in-law. He's always needing workers." And I was like, "What kind of company?" He said he owns a company. I said, "What company does he? What kind of company?" He goes, "He's a detective company."
Private investigator.
So I went in
like
for
Magnum PI, folks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now it turns out that due to my skills, I speak fluent Spanish. I can write.
You worked out the law office. That was
I worked
part
at a
of it?
law office for 9 years. It's what I got laid off from. So basically, I'm perfectly. I could do editing. I can edit surveillance footage. So it's like criminal defense and civil rights, and it's very exciting that now I might be a private investigator.
You can work. You could actually create a new series here based on your true story. The guy who wears the cowboy hat and is a private investigator in Los Angeles trying to be an actor. That would be a great show.
Yeah, going into jails, taking expert witnesses and testimonies in Spanish. Like,
Videotaping people,
yeah,
interviewing people.
editing it out by iPhone.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying here. We're saying don't worry about trying to figure out how it's going to come about. Just know it is coming about, and just when you're in that state of this faithful way of living, you will naturally, spontaneously say yes to the breadcrumbs.
It's incredible. I mean, I was reminded that this past whatever it was a few months ago, I just put up a show where my character was a private investigator. And it's like, well, how does this happen right now? And then now, like, I didn't even think, like, not in a million years I would have thought that being a private investigator would be like a job to do that I would enjoy. But God, out of nowhere, just plopped it in my lap. All I did, like you said, was say yes to this
And you
job.
also were honest with him, because Stephen was telling me how he let the guy know, well, I am an actor and I do need time. I do these shows, instead of thinking, well, I better not say anything because then maybe you won't hire me. No,
Yeah,
being
better let them know I'm
upfront.
fully available every day. But no, I've already committed to being an actor. I got to be available for 2 days a week for rehearsal, 3 days.
And he said, great. So it's also a job that gives you the
Flexibility.
flexibility to pursue acting as well, which is incredible.
And I cannot believe, like,
Oh, and the amount it pays meets Steve's budget.
yes,
Nice.
per hour. It's like, how does this happen? Now it's like, now that it's been presented, it's like, that would be cool. Being I'm a PI, private investigator. And then my uncle reminded me when I told him about this. He goes, are you going to grow a mustache and drive a Ferrari and wear a Hawaiian shirt? And I was like, oh my gosh, Magnum PI.
Yeah. He never knew that's what the PI stood for.
I mean, I did, but I never put it together. And it's like, how exciting is this? Like, this is an exciting opportunity. I would have never thought in a million years this would be like, so I could never, like Daryl's been, like what we've been sharing, I could have never planned this. But if I just focus on what we've been talking about,
Figure
I'm
apart.
about to be happy, sharing the joy.
And this may just be the thing that boosts your enthusiasm in this time for the real, like, do you see what I mean? We also have to still allow free play, because even just the enthusiasm of this job, it may not happen.
It's true, yeah. I did not sign on.
But it's God saying, look, don't worry. I got things cooking. Just keep this attitude up. Enjoy each step. Glenn, do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, I'm just really grateful that I've been able not only to retire with a pension, that I'm able to pursue my dreams in large part because of you and because of my wife as well, Sarah, who I love very much, and just thank you for the inspiration. And I'm grateful that I'm able to share this and time to inspire others, to be the light. That's all.
Thank you, because you inspired today's episode. This wouldn't have happened today if you didn't follow your hunch and were enthusiastic to share a vow of happiness with us. And anyone who's listening, I just want to thank, we have a brand new Patreon contributor. Thank you very much. If you want to contribute to the show, you can do so at patreon.com/funniest thing. You could also send us mail, actual snail mail. We love getting mail to Funniest Thing at P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the Patreon /funniest thing, is it funniest thing !
No.
Okay, cool.
I don't think so.
Okay, just making sure, because I know that's part of the.
I know Ed handles that portion. I'll make sure I get the right name down. I think that's it. But
I'm sure it'll pop up.
And you have our P.O. Box. You could also email us anytime through the website, DarylandEd.com, or DarylandEd@gmail.com. DarrellandED. Looks like Daryl landed, but it's Daryl and Ed.
Daryl landed.
So
And then we got a little visitor to out.
yeah, that's Gidget. Anyway, thank you everyone. Glenn, thank you. Steve, thank you for
Thank
doing
you.
the show today, and everyone who's listening. Until next time. What's the slogan for funniest thing?
Oh my gosh.
Come on. You know it.
Wait, the slogan, we're stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
There you go. All right, we'll see you all later.
Stepping out
Thanks.
boldly.